Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, here in Vesper Bay, where Alphinaud called for us. You're late, no matter. We know where our visitors are headed. From what I've been able to gather, this vessel belongs to a band of Domans who seek an audience with the Sultana. You're familiar with Doma, yes? In Offord? Well, like the rest of the nations of the eastern continent, it is ruled by the Garlean Empire. Given our visitors' unannounced arrival, as well as the state of their ship, I suspect they did not leave their homeland under the best circumstances. Needless to say, I should be very interested to hear their tale, and more importantly, what they know of the current state of affairs in the Empire. Such information could prove most useful. We would be fools not to pursue this opportunity, do you not think so? Come with me to Ul'dahn, Desiree. Unless I'm mistaken, and I'm rarely mistaken, we will find the Dormans bickering with the Sultan's swan on the Royal Promenade. You are uncertain of your role in the proceedings? Insurance. If our guests are not themselves Imperial agents, it seems fair to assume that they may be pursued by some. And if not, who better than you to have on hand in the event of an unforeseen diplomatic incident? Besides, I do so enjoy your sparkling repartee. Satisfied? Good. I shall see you in Ul'dahn. Have fun fishing. It matters not how many times you ask. Without the necessary permissions, none shall pass. Pray understand, good sir, we have not the leisure to lodge a formal petition. Time is of the essence. All I ask that you summon your superior. Allow me to plead my case. Surely you can grant us this small kindness? Away with you and darken these doors no longer. I will not ask again. You know not what you do. I gather your pleas fell on deaf ears? A loyal man with a cold heart. I know his kind well. I hope that you find me more to your liking. Alphinaud Leveilleur, at your service. A friend. Which I believe makes me very nearly unique, in this part of the world at least. Few indeed are your allies in Ul'dahn, yet you will need some if you wish to endear yourself to the wealthy and powerful. Pray join me and my associate at the Quicksand. There you may explain your situation to us, and we shall see if there's aught we can do to help.
We have traveled some several thousand miles across the sea, from the nation of Doma, in hopes that we might find sanctuary in these lands.
Sanctuary, Lady Yugiri?
Aye. Lying within Ul'dahn, Doma was under the dominion of the Garlean Empire, as I'm sure you are aware.
We will.
When the War of Succession broke out in Garlemald, we espied an opportunity to free ourselves from the yoke of imperial oppression and took up arms. Only to be crushed. And so I gathered what few Domans escaped the reckoning and guided them hither to your shores.
A war of succession? Then the Emperor... Forgive me. You said that Doma was under imperial rule, did you not?
Doma is gone, razed to the ground as an example to the other provinces.
12 have mercy. And your people?
On a ship anchored in Vesper Bay, flying borrowed colors. Many were complicit in the rebellion, or akin to those who were. They will not come ashore until I send word that it is safe to do so. I sought an audience with your rulers, but was summarily refused.
The lords of Ul'dahn are not wont to entertain foreign refugees without suitable encouragement.
No, they're not.
Mayhap I was foolish to expect otherwise, but our supplies run low and we have young ones in urgent need of care. I have seen the tents outside the gates, however. We are not the first to seek asylum, nor will we be the last.
Be that as it may, Ul'dahn is no friend to Garlemald. Your tale would stir the hearts of many men and women here. The Sultana and the Syndicate will not be so easily swayed, but I shall see that you are granted an opportunity to plead your case.
This is within your power?
Well, far be it from me to boast, but I do have the ear of certain influential individuals.
I am in your debt.
Lady Yugiri, forgive me for observing, but your choice of attire seems like to evoke feelings of mistrust.
Men are wont to fear the unfamiliar. We know this from experience.
Yugiri is veiled because the character model for the race she represents wasn't finished at the time of this patch.
We seek only to spare the people of Ul'dahn unnecessary disquiet.
I shall defer to your experience, then.
I thank you for your understanding.
It seems I have urgent business with the Flame General. I leave our guests in your capable hands.
All right. Let Yugiri relay her stay and night for the good of our people. She's an inspiration to us all. Yet I worry for her health. And you are grateful. If I may, madame, as I said earlier, we have been at sea for several moons, and our supplies are all but spent. I have not the heart to repeat the tales of our tribulations, nor would it please you to listen to them, I think. Suffice it to say, however, sacrifices have been made. But what shames me to beg more when we have already offered so much? Desperation compels me. Good madam, if you or your associates could spare any provisions, anything at all, it would go a long way to lessen the suffering of my people. Momodi, can you maybe help? Health, why didn't you say sooner, Desiree? Of course I'll help. You couldn't have picked a better day, to tell the truth. A wealthy merchant and his entourage were due to have a banquet here on the morrow, see? And just sent word they can't come, meaning I've got a boatload of foodstuffs and no one to feed. Best of all, they paid for the lot in advance. Go and call on Fridoui and Catherine at the Sapphire Avenue exchange. Tell them I said to ship the little princess order to the Waking Sands. Oh, and if they argue, just show them those letters. They should set them straight. She's in the business of feeding refugees now? I ain't normally one to question Mistress Momodi's judgment, but that doesn't seem wise to me. I not speak for the children, but if you ask me, any man that can't earn a crust deserves to go hungry. My, that's a rather odd request. Maybe you misheard her instructions? You know, you shouldn't encourage them like this. They start to expect it. You mark my words. Those people have seen too many refugees already. They are already jaded. I mean, it's not entirely wrong what they say, that you can't just keep on giving people without expecting anything in return. But when people are so down as these Domans at least claim to be, then a helping hand can really make the difference between life and death. They didn't give you any trouble, did they? Good. Now go and tell your Lady Yugiri it's all in hand. I dared not hope for such magnanimity, much as expected. Mistress Momody is generous indeed. I shall be sure to thank her most humbly. Lady Yugiri, I briefed the Flame General on your situation. I think you will be pleased with his reply. We are granted an audience. Before the Sultana and Syndicate both, we should return to the Royal Promenade at once. You have done much for us, Master Alphinaud. I swear we shall return the favor. Naught is owed, Lady Yugiri, for naught has been given. This small favor you have fairly won with your words. And it is with words that you must win the favor of the Syndicate. Then I shall choose them with care. You will be accompanying us, yes? Good. Your presence may serve to remind the Syndicate of the true meaning of philanthropy, and that nothing so unpalatable will be required of them. Assuming the Dormants are willing to earn their keep. Come, the Flame General awaits us on the Royal Promenade. If we are all enemies of Garlemald, is it not fitting that we should join forces? I've heard that the Sultana is a kind and generous ruler. Of the Syndicate I have heard less flattering things. I wish to greet our guests beforehand and offer my support for their cause. Doma, Ul'dahn, it doesn't matter to me. Birthplace does not equate to birthright in my eyes. I take great pride in my establishments for this very reason. The Platinum Mirage in particular serves as a showcase of the talents of countless men and women born beyond our borders. Bards sing of wars which decided the fates of nations, but a single word spoken within a council chamber is more like to decide that of my own. A pleasure, Lieutenant Klingor. The others are already inside. Let's not keep them waiting.
I, Yugiri of Doma, am honored to meet you at last, Your Grace. To mark this auspicious occasion, I should like to present to you the finest treasures our humble nation has to offer. Alas, the circumstances which have brought me here today have divested me of both time and dignity. I come before you as a pauper in direst need of aid, to request that you grant my people asylum.
I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, welcome you to our city. Be at ease, Lady Yugiri. Although I myself have heard the tale of your misfortune, I would ask that you recount it once more for the benefit of the others here present.
As you wish, Your Grace. For many years, my nation, Doma, suffered under the yoke of imperial rule, and my people yearned to be free. Thus, when a war of succession broke out in Garlemald, we sought to take advantage of the chaos and reclaim our liberty.
Something that I wanted to mention, just forgot. That Yugiri started with, I would like to present you with all the treasures, but I just can't, is not a good, very good start for this. You shouldn't start with what you can't offer.
Alas, our enemy proved less preoccupied than we had hoped, and our rebellion was put down in the most brutal fashion.
Those who survived, how many do they number?
More than 200 souls huddle within the cramped confines of our own Garleans' hold. Yet this figure accounts for but one of a number of ships which escaped the Purge. It is my hope that you will allow us all to dwell within your walls. Should that prove unfeasible, however, I humbly ask that you accept as many of my people as your resources allow. Pray understand, we do not beg a boon, but propose instead an arrangement. We would serve as soldiers or tradesmen until our debt is repaid.
What are the Syndicate's opinions on this matter?
I, for one, think it's a marvelous idea. Lady Yugiri and her people strike me as an industrious lot, and there are parts of the city which have yet to be fully restored. If they are willing to work, I see no reason not to let them.
Ul'dahn already has a lot of refugees here, and certainly those could be put to work as well.
The head of the Mirage Trust is not known for his generosity. He sees profit in this.
I agree. That said, these are foreign refugees. To admit them would require a formal resolution. Shall we call a vote?
The law is the law.
Lord Lolorito?
Tell me, are you blind or willfully ignorant? Even now, our streets are choked with the displaced victims of the Calamity and Alamigan refugees.
I just said that Ul'dahn is already overrun with refugees.
They live hand to mouth, subsisting on aid provided by the immortal flames, the cost of which grows ever higher. The wealth of Ul'dahn is not without limits, my friends. And need I remind you that these refugees are prone to violence and criminal activity? You have all read the reports, I think.
The typical behavior of desperate people.
Without homes or employment, it is only a matter of time before men grow desperate and take that which they imagine has been unjustly denied them. Yet, knowing this, you would have us swell their ranks. Mayhap you think the brass blades and the flames are not hard-pressed enough?
Some say the chairman of the East Ul'dahn Trading Company passes Gil thrice daily. This may explain how he came to be the wealthiest man in Ul'dahn. Or it may simply be that he's ruthless beyond reckoning.
He's literally shitting money here.
Surely the Sultanate can support the few hundred domins Lady Yugiri represents. That our resources have been taxed, I do not deny. But we are hardly in danger of financial collapse. I move that an exception be made.
An exception, Your Grace? I am suddenly reminded of a similar debate some years ago regarding a number of Alamigan refugees, if memory serves. What were your words that day? Yes. The law is the law, and so our visitors remained in Little Alamigo. Mayhap our wise and benevolent Sultana would be so good as to enlighten us as to which other of our laws should not be upheld.
Mind your tongue, Lolorito.
My lord, I share your concern for the welfare of our great nation, but we must endeavor to take a longer view. You know as well as I that people can be a resource still more precious than Gil.
Precious or not, they were never yet so reliable. And unlike those who frequent your establishment, I have no desire to gamble with my future. Ul'dahn's greatest asset is, and has ever been, her material wealth. We risk this at our peril. One need only look to Teleji Adeleji's example for evidence of the danger in allowing sentiment to dictate policy. How far the vaunted Mirage have fallen, both in repute and profitability, since he began employing refugees.
How I choose to conduct my affairs is not your concern, my lord.
A proposal has been tabled. Given its urgency, I move we forego further debate and call a vote. To accept the Doman refugees or not. Those in favor, I bid you remain. Those opposed, I bid you leave.
Two, 3, 4. Three remaining.
Would that it were within my power to welcome you and your people, Lady Yugiri. As you have observed, however, my authority in such matters is regrettably limited. Without the consent of the Syndicate, I cannot act.
I understand, Your Grace, and I appreciate all that you have done on our behalf.
The nerve of the man! If that bastard had not forsaken the eastern trade route, little Alamigo would now be thriving. Oh, that you should have traveled so far under such dire circumstances, only to be refused in this manner is utterly unconscionable. Pray, accept my sincerest apologies.
Now that the Empire no longer poses an immediate threat, they see little reason to maintain the pretense of unity. The Monitorists have grown especially defiant of late. Lord Lolorito most of all. But this is neither the time nor place for that discussion.
It bears repeating, but Lord Lolorito does not speak for the Syndicate. The others harbor doubt, I will allow, but in time they shall see the error of their ways. My people could not endure another long sea voyage, but if Ul'dahn will not accept us, what choice have we? Did they not hear Lady Yugiri's pleas? How can they turn us away, knowing what we endured? As Lord Lolorito goes, so goes the Syndicate. Yeah. I mean, I can fully understand the arguments Lord Lolorito makes. But from a humanitarian viewpoint, this is terrible. As you observed, Lord Lolorito is not afraid to speak his mind, nor is he like to change it. Oft have I wondered how a man so skilled at weighing the worth of things should be so incapable of seeing the value in people. But I will waste no more words on him, not when the Domans are yet in need of aid. Everyone, follow me to the Hall of Flames. Garleans is no place for my people, for any people to call home. This cannot continue. I will not deny that certain portions of the refugee population have been a burden on the Sultanate, but I take issue with my counterparts' contention that they account for the majority. In this, they are plainly mistaken. Even so, we must not think ill of them for wishing to protect our great nation. Mayhap I should have considered the likelihood of failure more deeply beforehand. The Syndicate has spoken, and I see no point in moving that the matter be reconsidered. The monitorists have made their position clear. Agreed. Ul'dahn is not an option. Nor Lominsa or Gridania judge, given the state of their internal affairs, which leaves our Doman friends confined to a ship. God, the thought of them huddled in an airless hold with no hope of better treatment. Would that I had more time to find an alternative, a place not bound by the concern of the great nations. Infilia? That is precisely what I wish to discuss. Seeing if we can get them to Revenant's Hall? I understand the Syndicate's decision, I do. We all wish to preserve that which is ours, especially when we believe it to be under siege. But I cannot meekly accept this judgment, not while my people suffer. Would it be out of question for the Sultanate to accept us for a limited time? A week mayhap, or even just a few days? Excellent. I shall keep you informed. Lady Yugiri, I have a proposal if you would hear it. Out of it, Alphinaud. The headquarters of my order, the Science of the Seventh Dawn, stands in a place called Revenant's Hall, an outpost in Mordona. Like most outposts, it is frequented by mercenaries and other men of action, and lacks the comforts of more established settlements. However, the leaders of Revenant's Hall have been doing their utmost to change that. To that end, they have need of able-bodied individuals willing to work as frontier hands. Hard labor, lest you doubt, with not safe food and shelter by way of reward. Terms not unlike those which you yourself proposed, Lady Yugiri. Though I will not hear a word said against our beloved Ul'dahn, Revenant's Hall would offer certain advantages, the absence of unhelpful bureaucracy being the most obvious. If they can accommodate us all, I shall gladly accept. Master Alphinaud, once again I find myself in your debt. Pray do not thank me, my lady. The life of your people a go-to is one of hard labor and few comforts, as I told you. Before that, there remains the matter of how they may safely be borne to Revenant's Hall, which will be no small feat considering the distance and their present condition. Mayhap the Ul'dahn Adventurer Guild can be of assistance? Look for me there anon, Desiree. Lady Yugiri, if you and your people would accompany me, we may discuss what aid the immortal flames can provide. We are concerned that the Doman refugees may find the journey to Revenant's Hall too much to bear. Too long have they been sequestered aboard their ship with insufficient supplies and scarce enough room to breathe, let alone stretch their limbs. With that in mind, Mistress Momodi has kindly offered to accommodate the Domans until such time as they are ready to set out for Mordona. Those healthy enough to travel will embark as soon as transportation has been secured, while those too weak to leave at once will be permitted to stay until they regain their strength. Thank you, Momodi. What news? Transportation remains our greatest obstacle, General. Is there aught the immortal flames can do? I fear that exceeds our mandate. Were it a smaller number, mayhap it would go unnoticed, but the Syndicate will not bear the cost of escorting more than 200 Domans to Mordona. When the government fails to act, the responsibility falls to us private citizens. I will engage the services of the 77 caravans on the Doman's behalf. Very well. We should begin contract negotiations at once. Your generosity is most welcome, my lord. After all that has befallen these good people, it's the least I can do. Come with me. You shall ever have a friend in Ul'dahn, Lady Yugiri. And you in Revenant's Toll, my lord. Well, it sounds like we all have work to do. Lady Yugiri, let's put our heads together and settle the details of our arrangement, shall we? I would entrust the task of escorting our Doman friends to you, after you have rested your own road very relaxed, of course. What say you? Okay, and I think this is a good place to end this episode. Until next time, when we look a bit more about these Doman refugees.